Afternoon. So this video is just going to be a quick one about how to get yourself out of a rut. Say you've had a long weekend of, I don't know, drinking, boozing, smoking, partying, bad habits. You've had a terrible few days. Maybe it's been going on for a few weeks, and you're kind of getting this anxiety about you to try and get back into your good habits and try and do the good things again. But you don't really know how to get there because of the habits you've been picking up. Your brain's kind of rewired to find satisfaction from the bad habits because that's what they do. That's why they're so addictive. Now, I kind of have this dilemma almost every week now, which is quite poor in terms of the weekend. I'll get through the bad habits, and then Monday I'll kind of snap back into doing the good things. And while that's okay for me to maintain during the season because everything's almost on like a 1 week turnaround, I know for the long term it's not going to optimize my performance and trying to get to the next level. That's not going to work out well for me. So in the next few weeks I've got big plans in place in order to have a grand reset, which I've done many times in my life, and it's very easy to achieve. It's something you almost just put your whole heart into. You make a plan and you execute. It's something I've done during lockdown. All of the lockdowns we had. It's something that I've done after moving out of the house. I've done it 2 or 3 times. You have that big reset of going into a hole and just working and getting yourself out of it. And you always watch these. Like I just watched Conor McGregor's new documentary on Netflix called McGregor Forever, and it's quite good. I recommend watching it, about that mental sharpness and trying to get into that sort of agility to be able to execute what you're trying to do. And it applies to many different realms. For me, I use it specifically for rugby and work on the business, and I know I can get myself into that mental place where I literally wake up, train, eat, work, go to bed, and the bad habits are very minimized. And the way that you do this is actually very simple, because if you're watching this video, the likelihood is that you've been in positions where you worked really hard and you've done it before, and you've been, even if it's just been 1 or 2 weeks where you felt unbelievable, you've been eating right, you've been drinking your water, you've been exercising properly, you've been stretching, you've been doing all the good things. Now just reflect back on that time. So you're sitting in a hole, say it's a Sunday night, you feel like shit. Look back to those times where everything was going well. Think about what you're eating, how you're sleeping, your hydration habits, your training habits, your habits when you're relaxing, were you sitting reading a book and outside or something, or were you sitting inside, hood up, watching TV, playing video games, etc. What were you doing in those times that made you feel so good? And then simply put a plan into place as to how you're going to implement those habits. And there's no secret sauce about how you start. You just make the plan and you start. You know exactly what to do, so you just start doing it. And of course, for the first few days you're going to get that sort of numb feeling where nothing's really that enjoyable. That's because your dopamine levels are so far down. I've explained in previous videos where once you do these bad habits, they all spike your dopamine. So say you've got a baseline that's here, so your dopamine will spike and then it'll drop back down below where your original baseline was. So if you keep doing these habits, it's essentially just going to go like this until you just feel shit about everything. Nothing really satisfies you anymore. So it's going to feel terrible for the first few days, but as long as you know that I can give you that sort of security in mind that if you keep doing these good habits over a long enough time frames, it's usually a few days, maybe a week, until you start feeling good again. And then that's how you get back into doing the good stuff. If you want to learn a wee bit more in detail about how to get into self-improvement in the first place, I'll put the first link in the description. Is a course that I made about, it's like a beginner's guide to self-improvement. So essentially it shows you the first steps that you use and all steps that I've used to get myself onto that first level of self-improvement where you can really start striving from that point forward. So if you think that'll be useful for you, I'll put a link in the description. Other than that, I'll just see you guys in the next video.